Hi, this is your Houston chiropractor, and today I'm going to be going over a very specialized technique known as NEMO. It is a very deep pressure that I put on the paravertebral musculature from the pelvis all the way up into the cervical spine. And if you notice, I got my right sleeve rolled up, and I'm actually going to roll it up a little bit more, because this requires a great deal of strength as well as precision on here. We get some cream and we warm it up a little bit with our hands so that we're not putting cold cream on the muscles and getting them to tighten up. But our patient had a incident where he was lifting a very heavy object by himself awkwardly and got into a bad biomechanical position doing that, and so therefore he had a severe muscle spasm. Now what I'm doing is I am taking the point of my elbow here and I am getting in slowly but then deeply right along the paraspinal muscles. I started down at the quadratus lumborum, multifidus, and erector spinae. Now I'm moving up the spine, and you will see whenever I hit these knots, right there's one, and I'm putting a significant amount of my body weight in here. You'll probably hear a few grunts and groans because this is a very painful technique when you have severe muscle spasm and or trigger points. Oh boy, you see that one up there so bad I just bounced off it. Boy, it's like a golf ball. We're going to get those out of there so he can go hit those on the range rather than carrying them around his shoulder. Boy. Now, I'm doing a second pass on this side. Deep breaths. You always want to have the patient continue breathing, but this is absolutely very, very helpful in calming these muscle fibers down, because you're getting into these trigger points, which are basically toxic metabolic waste dumps for just normal everyday cellular metabolism of the muscles. But when the muscles get into so much spasm, the blood can't carry in vital oxygen and nutrition into the cells, and it also cannot carry out the metabolic waste products just from normal cellular metabolism. Now you notice I'm on the right side now, starting again down the quadratus lumborum, multifidus, and erector spinae musculature. Now there are 4 layers deep of muscles from your occiput all the way down to your pelvis, and I'm actually getting down deep deep into the bottom layers even of the paraspinal muscles called the erector spinae musculature. Boy, up here some big knots in his rhomboids. And he's had a chronic myofascial pain syndrome in the cervical thoracic region that has come over the years as a result of playing sports and various accidents. There we go. Now we're going to do that again. Just keep breathing. This is an ancillary technique to the adjustments, which I actually will adjust him today too, but for purposes of this particular YouTube video, we are actually going to be working right on that. Now he's putting his arm up behind there because he knows we've done this before. And it used to be a scapula, we couldn't even get between it, but now, see, you can see that I actually can get my hands underneath of his shoulder blade or scapula. And when you have your hands up and back like that, this kind of looks like torture. Doesn't hurt me a bit, as you can tell. Sometimes the patients, though. But this is one of those hurts so good kind of treatments. There we go. Now, I'm actually going to go back to the worst side. See, 2 days ago, he couldn't even move. He could barely walk down the hallway because he was in such severe pain and spasm as a result of that injury. And So we just started doing this. Now you're going to notice I'm going to put the headpiece down even further. And we're going to do that same thing up in the trapezius muscles. There's that huge knot in the left trapezius. Gets all the way into the levator scapula muscle, which goes from your shoulder blade all the way up to the cervical spine. And now I'm right on the back of the cervical spine vertebra, paraspinal musculature. This is right behind the lamina, or the actual joints. And you're going to notice that I start from the insertion of the trap right there at the acromioclavicular joint, work all the way up into the paraspinals in the cervical spine. And that's very tender there too. But watch here. This is at the base of the skull, and a lot of people have headaches starting right here. And these are called suboccipital trigger points. Occiput being the base of his skull, suboccipital being down at the base of his skull. And that's where a lot of people get trigger points and headaches from. Now, this left one is just a huge golf ball. And when you get over those golf ball size trigger points, you actually want to stay on them for a minute, keep applying pressure, and you'll feel them actually melting underneath your fingers. And relaxing. Now see, he's still got a lot of paraspinal muscle hypertonicity all the way up to his skull suboccipital region on the left here as well. The suboccipital region is worse on the right, but down here in the traps, the left one is much worse. There we go. Let's put this one up there too. Now see, I can actually see his shoulder blade. So again, we're getting right underneath it there in the rhomboid muscles. Now the rhomboid muscle fibers run from the spine over to the scapula. So you see I'm going across them. This is transverse friction. And it's the best. Now the erector spiny musculature underneath of these runs longitudinally next to his spine, all the way down. Very good. Now, from doing that, we just evened out a whole bunch of this area. He has a little bit right here still on this right side, and there I can feel these right even through my elbow, and I know he can. And right here at the base of his rhomboids, getting into his scapular region again, which we have him doing reverse flies now with dumbbells to start working the rhomboids so that we can get his shoulders pulled back together from the significant forward head posture that he's had and overdevelopment of the pectoralis major and minor, which is what a lot of people unfortunately do. They work out their chest doing bench presses and push-ups and stuff, but they don't work out the paraspinal musculature in the trapezius and rhomboids to hold your shoulders up and back. This is a very deep tissue technique called NEMO. This is your Houston chiropractor. We'll see you next time.